All right, let's talk about your financial health. Think of this as your own personal guide to getting total clarity on your money. We're going to cut through all the confusion and build a really powerful tool for your financial future together.
So let me just start by asking you a question, and be honest with yourself. Do you really know where your money is going each and every month? I mean, we all check our bank balance, right? But do you have a true picture of where every single dollar is flowing? For most of us, that picture is a little bit fuzzy, and that's exactly what we're here to fix.
And here's why this is so important. Understanding your personal cash flow, that's just the money coming in and the money going out, is the absolute foundation for building wealth, for planning for retirement, and honestly, for just quieting down that little hum of stress about money that so many of us have in the back of our minds. Now, I have to make a quick but really crucial point here. A cash flow statement is not the same thing as a budget. They're like a team, but they do very different jobs. Think of your cash flow statement as your financial report card. It looks backward into the past and answers the question, where did my money actually go? A budget, on the other hand, is your game plan. It looks forward and answers, where should my money go? You absolutely need the first one to create a realistic version of the second.
So, how do we actually do it? Well, it's probably a lot simpler than you think. We're just going to walk through a really straightforward 3-step calculation to figure out your personal net cash flow.
So here's the roadmap. It's super simple. First, we're going to add up all your income. That's your cash inflow. Second, we'll tally up all of your expenses, your cash outflow. And then third, we'll subtract the outflow from the inflow to get that magic number, your net cash flow.
To make this really concrete, let's just use an example. I want you to meet Sarah. We're going to take a little peek into her finances for just 1 month to see exactly how this whole thing works in the real world.
Okay, step 1, cash inflow. We're going to gather up all of Sarah's different income sources. Now, the most important thing to remember here is that for her main job, we're using her after-tax pay. The actual amount that hits her bank account. Then we add in her side hustle, some income from a rental property, and even a little bit from investment dividends. So her total monthly inflow comes out to $73.50. All right, on to step 2, tracking her cash outflow. We've broken her spending into 2 main buckets to make it easy. First up, essential expenses. These are the must-haves, right? Mortgage, groceries, her car payment. Then we have the discretionary expenses. This is all the wants, like eating out, her gym membership, and shopping. When we add all that up, her total monthly outflow is $5,125.
Okay, now for the moment of truth. The formula couldn't be simpler. It's just total income minus total expenses. That gives you your net cash flow. For Sarah, that's $7,350 minus $5,125. And the result is
a positive $2,225. This is fantastic. A positive number like this means she's living within her means and has a pretty big surplus at the end of the month. This right here is the goal, to create that gap between what you earn and what you spend.
But you know what? Knowing this number is really just the beginning. The real power comes from what you decide to do next. So Sarah has this extra cash flow. The big question is, how can she put that money to work in the best way possible?
This is where a simple budgeting framework can be a total game changer. One of the most popular and effective ones out there is the 50-30-20 rule. It's just a great way to give every single one of your dollars a specific job.
What this rule does is it simplifies your entire financial life. The idea is that 50% of your after-tax income should go to your needs, the absolute essentials. 30% can go to your wants, all the discretionary stuff that makes life fun and enjoyable. And then that final 20%, and this is the most important part, that goes directly to your future self, savings and paying down debt. It just creates a really nice, balanced approach to your money. And speaking of the future, let's zoom out for a minute. Because managing your cash flow today isn't just about making it to next month or next year. It's about protecting yourself from some major risks that are decades down the road, especially when we start talking about retirement. See, your ability to generate a surplus now is your #1 defense against the uncertainties of the future. And one of the biggest, most overlooked risks out there, it's all about timing. It's called sequence of returns risk. Now, I know that sounds complicated, but in plain English, it just means that when you get your investment returns matters just as much as your average return over time. Getting hit with a big market downturn right after you retire can be absolutely devastating because you're forced to sell your investments at low prices just to live, and that permanently wrecks your portfolio's ability to bounce back. To see why this is so unbelievably critical, let's compare 2 retirees. We'll call them Investor A and Investor B.
They both start with the exact same amount of money, they withdraw the same amount, and this is the key part, they get the exact same average annual return over 25 years.
And this just shows the risk perfectly. Investor A had the bad luck of retiring into a bad market. His portfolio was completely empty by year 19. Now, Investor B had the exact same bad years, but they happened at the end of her retirement instead of the beginning. She finished with over $6.4 million. It's the same money, same withdrawals, same average return, but wildly different outcomes, all because of timing.
So how do you protect yourself from a risk that you can't even control? Well, you focus on what you can control. Building a strong, positive cash flow year after year creates a financial buffer, that extra savings and investments that can help you ride out a storm like that if it happens to hit early in your retirement.
Okay, so we've covered the why and the how. Let's bring it all back to the here and now with 3 simple actions you can take to improve your own cash flow situation, starting today. First, just track your spending for a month. Use that real data to build a realistic 50-30-20 budget. Second, go through your subscriptions. Seriously, it's the fastest way to find some quick wins by cutting out spending on things you barely even use. And third, automate your savings. Set up an automatic transfer for payday to move your surplus into a separate account. You have to pay yourself first before you even get a chance to spend it. And I just want to leave you with this one final thought. In the world of finance, it's so easy to get caught up chasing the best return or the perfect strategy. But the truth is, the best strategy is the one that actually fits your life and your goals, and the one that you can actually stick with consistently. And it all begins with knowing exactly where your money is going. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.